Hi, welcome to your channel. Today is the second day of the fourth chapter, that is the rise of the roaming entrepreneur. Let's start. Become your own publisher. As the founder of 800 CEO Reed, a leading retailer of business books, Jack Covert is a veteran of both traditional publishing and self-publishing. I asked Jack what has changed about the publishing world in recent years. Everything changed. He said, "We have always seen authors self publish their works, but never to such a wide extent. What's different is the quality of the work. These days, a number of self published works have at least as good a quality as do books from big publishers. The paying field has been greatly leveled and continues to be. The other thing that's different, Jack told me, is that most authors choose self publishing in the past because they couldn't get a traditional publisher to purchase their work. Today, some authors are deliberately choosing to distribute their work directly, even turning down significant offers in favor of going it alone. But hey, who needs books? You don't need to be an author or even think of yourself as a writer to take advantage of this changing world. Digital publishing tended to fit into at least a few categories: one of products, fixed period courses, and recurring subscriptions. Jen Lehman and Andrea Scare, two friends who had attended a retreat together, had an idea to start an online course for women. They called it Mondo Biondo and created a community model for participants to post their life list, goals, and ideas. On the other side of the Atlantic, former journalist Susanna Conway was independently setting up a similar project called Unraveling. Though thousands of participants later, both projects have long waiting lists of future sessions and both produce six-figure annual incomes. Part of the beauty of this model is that it grows predominantly by referrals. As students finish the 4 or 5 week courses, many of them tell their friends who then sign up for the next session. A few people have created true scale in their online publishing efforts. In Melbourne, Australia, Darren Rouse created a popular photography forum that attracted more than 30,000 subscribers, more than 3 lakh subscribers in less than 3 years. He also founded ProBlogger, a hub for new digital publishers seeking to learn the ropes. In Texas, Brian Clark runs a company that provides online services, including website themes and marketing advice. Many customers arrive from brands writing on copyblogger.com and related sites. The business employs a dozen people and earns more than $5 million a year, in large part thanks to reliance on recurring subscriptions. We will discuss subscription and hear more from Brian in chapter 10. A cynic might wonder, is there really so much market space for all of these projects? Long story short, The answer is yes. These examples aren't highly unusual, and I had to decline many additional stories because this book is not strictly about information publishing. Some parts of information publishing are still in wild west stage, but this strong business model is here to stay. Like everything else under the sun, this new business isn't entirely new, as Jack from 800 CEO Reid mentioned. Some independent publishers have always known that it's often better to sell direct. What's changed is the speed, quality, and potential to reach a much broader audience. That's what these roaming publishers are doing. And a guy of Fullerton, California provides a typical example. The 1,20,000 ebook. The $1,20,000 ebook. Britt Kelly, a self-described professional geek who worked as a software developer, had a busy job and a stressful home life. As a result of $15,000 of credit card debt and the high cost of Southern California living, Britt and his wife Joanna worked opposite schedules to make ends meet. I would get home and trade off with a high five to Joanna as she went to work at a restaurant. He told me as we sat at a taco stand in Los Angeles. The last few months we were both tired all the time. The kids were unhappy and the overall situation was good. For years, Britt had watched from the sidelines as friends and colleagues started profitable projects and either quit their jobs or established an additional income stream. Finally, he had an idea of his own as a power user of every Evernote, the free note-keeping software. Brett noticed that there was no detailed user manual for people to get the most out of the service. Brett spent months carefully documenting every tip and trick he could find about Evernote, compiling everything with detailed screenshots and tutorials into a big PDF file. I obsessed over this thing, he said, and I wanted to make sure I got everything exactly right. When he sent me a draft of what would become Evernote Essential, I was impressed. Many big writers pad their products with superfluous copy, big fonts, and wide margins. Breed's was the opposite. The finished product weighed in at more than 90 pages of solid content. Nevertheless, solid content isn't everything. You also have to sell something that people are willing to spend money on, would they? Right before the guide went on sale, Britt made a deal with Joanna. If he sold at least $10,000 worth of copies, she would quit her job waiting tables at the restaurant and stay at home with their two kids full time. Britt estimated that it would take months, if not longer, to reach the $10,000 goal, but just 11 days after Evernote Essential went on sale, the PayPal account tipped into five figures. Being the geek that he was, Britt promptly took a screenshot on his iPhone and made it is wallpaper. Less than 24 hours later, Joanna put in her 2-week notice at the restaurant. Aside from brief breaks when the kids were born, this would be the first time she didn't work in their 7 years of parenthood. Months later, sales of Evernote Essentials continued to bring in at least $300 a day, projecting annual revenue of more than 1,20,000 for something that was essentially a side project. Interestingly, if the project had been produced as a print book from a traditional publisher, those numbers could be considered a failure. Author royalties would have brought Brit on only around $18 a day. But since Brit was the sole owner and delivery was digital, the $300 that arrived in his PayPal account every day was almost entirely profit. In an odd twist, the executive who developed Evernote got word of the guide and sent Brit a note that they wanted to talk. Brit was worried. They were upset about him making money from their free product. But the opposite was true. The CEO loved it and wanted to hire him. Brit left the boring full-time job and took on a new role at Evernote with the understanding that he could continue to sell the guide and return all profits while working at home for the company. Sweet. Here's how Brit describes the end results. The unreal success of this project has not only freed our family from a decade of debt financial instability, but has also given us the freedom to pursue the kind of life we want. Since I now work from home and Joanna is a stay-at-home mom, we spend far more time with our kids than most people could hope for. There are times when I still can't believe actually happened, and I couldn't be more thankful. This project had all the predictors of success we have considered thus far. It began with something he was both passionate about and skilled in, and then he forged his knowledge into a useful package that could be acquired instantly by users. If you wanted to learn about Evernote but didn't want to spend the time surfing around, a $25 investment could solve the problem. The choice of price was also perfect. Brit could have priced much lower, as some digital publishers do, but he chose to take a stand and provide a clear value proposition to his potential customers. Become your own publisher. Follow these steps to enter the information publishing business. Each step can be made more complicated, but they are related to this basic outline. Number one, find a topic that people will pay to learn about. It helps if you are an expert in the topic, but if not, that's what research is for. Number two, capture the information in one of three ways. Write it down, record audio or video, produce some combination of A and B. Number three, combine your materials into a product, an ebook or digital package that can be downloaded by buyers. Four, create an offer. What exactly are you selling and why should people take action on it? Learn more about offering in chapter 7. Number 5, decide on a fair value based price for your offer. For pricing guidelines, see chapter 1. Number 6, find a way to get paid. PayPal.com is the most ubiquitous method with the ability to accept payment from users in more than 180 countries. Other options are available if you want more flexibility. Publish the offer and get the word out. For an overview of hustling, cash in and head to the beach. This step may require further effort. Alas, like any trend or business model, not every story of Independent publishing is a success. Many aspiring publishers operate on, and if you build it, they will come model. Later in the book, we will rename if you build it, they might come model. Sometimes it works, but many times it doesn't. And there's no guarantee of instant riches for every online course that becomes a mondo beyond size success. Many others flounder on with 5 participants for every 1,20,000 ebook like breeds. Many others sell two copies, one to the writer's grandmother and one to a friend of the family before fizzling out. Some of the failures relate to unrealistic expectations. Put simply, some people want the sun and the fun or the $300 a day without the work, partly as a result of the allure of working from anywhere. Many aspiring entrepreneurs focus much more on the anywhere part than they do the work part, since the work part is what sustains everything else. It's better to focus on it from the beginning. After all, the best thing about a location independent business is possibility. The fact that you can head off to Argentina or Thailand on a whim doesn't necessarily mean that you actually will. The classic image of a roaming entrepreneur usually involves a guy or girl sitting on the beach in a swimsuit, drink nearby with a laptop propped up against the backdrop of sunset. My limited attempts at replicating such a scene usually involve worrying about the laptop. Will it get stolen? Will I get sand in the keyboard? And standing to see the screen against the glare of the sun. Furthermore, most beaches in tropical locales do not provide Wi-Fi access, and for that matter, plenty of other places don't either. So, if you are going to operate your business on the road, you will need to learn to think about your business as much as you think about being on the road. It's just like following your passion to that bank. Some people prefer to keep their passion on the side, and some people prefer not to mix their vacations with their work. Even entrepreneurs like Brandon Pierce, who have carefully built a high income hands free business that allows them to work minimal hours, do that only after the business has been established. In the beginning, there's usually a fair amount of fumbling and a large number of hours spent working on projects that may or may not succeed. But hey, that's enough of a reality check. There's no doubt that thousands of people have established successful businesses on this model, especially over the last decade. Why not follow in their path, charting your own course along the way? When I last talked with Brandon, he was still doing extremely well, up to $30,000 a month in our most recent conversation. He was now branching out into new areas in Costa Rica and beyond, even thinking about buying shares in a local farm. Perhaps the farm won't be as profitable as the online project, but that's okay. Month after month, the income from the music software will continue to roll in. Brandon and his family have established complete freedom and the ability to make a new life wherever it leads them. Every day is an adventure. Key points: roaming entrepreneurs are everywhere these days. Many of them are quietly building significant six figures or higher businesses while living in paradise. Just as not every passion leads to a good business model, a lot of people pursue the nomadic lifestyle for the wrong reasons. The best question to answer is, what do you want to do? There are many roads to location independence, but the business of information publishing is especially profitable, and there's more than one path to information publishing. It isn't just about ebooks. Everything relates to the lessons that begin in chapter 1. Find the convergence between what you love and what other people are willing to buy. Remember that you are probably good at more than one thing, and combine passion and usefulness to build a real business no matter where you end up living. And today is the end of the fourth chapter. We will start fifth chapter in the next session. If you are new on the channel, subscribe the channel and press bell icon so that you will get notification about new video upload. Don't forget to like and share. Thank you so much.